Hello, everyone. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle post-game review of Everton 0, Arsenal 1. It's just me right now. As you can see, Ray is not here. Ray had some stuff to do. I think some family stuff that he wanted to do and needs to do, and so he won't be hosting. I'll be hosting, and I hope, I believe more people will be joining me. But if not, it'll either be a quick show because you'll just listen to me until I run out of stuff to say, or others will join us as we go along. But we'll get into that. But first off, let's go do our little intro. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. And as the first comment in here says, 1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0 to the Arsenal. There you go. BX Gunner, thanks for joining us as we go through a review of the game. As I said, I don't think I'm supposed to be alone today, but if not, we'll go through it. Hopefully, it's not a repeat of what you've already heard. We'll talk about everything from the starting lineup to what happens next for Arsenal. Arsenal comes in sitting fifth in the league, tied with 4 other teams just on goal difference, sitting fifth, and we'll get into that. So, welcome to the show. We will get into that and more. As I said, I expect more people to join, but I'll go through and give you how I'm feeling now. I don't know if it's going to be any different than how I was feeling before, but as Mr. Tom says, here he is. Mr. Tom, how did it go? As if he didn't know. He always asks these silly questions, because he was actually in the watch along, basically going after me, as him and his partner in crime, Sam, were doing. But we'll get into that as well. But how did it go? Well, Arsenal went to Goodison Park for the first time in, I guess it would be 7 years or 6 years, and actually got all 3 points. It's been a tough time there. We've lost, I think, 3 of the last 6 times they've played there, if I recall. And the 3 points was the most important thing. We got that 3 points, hoping for a better performance. Hoping for better performance than we had in the previous games. Always looking for us to get better each time we play out there, and I was hoping for that as well. We'll get into it. I'm hoping other people will join before we kind of rehash everything. But yes, Arsenal got the 3 points. We needed to win. We needed to keep pace with everybody else that's ahead of us, and we did that. So now we get ready for Champions League next, and we'll talk about that as well. Yeah. So did Arsenal do well? Yes, they did. They got the 3 points. But we can still analyze what they did. Doesn't mean we're not appreciative of the 3 points. This is a show where you can't just say, "Oh, we got the 3 points, so there's nothing really to talk about." So we're going to talk about it because I will talk about it. Anyways, I'll talk about it if we won 5-0 probably. All right, but 1-0 on the road in a tough venue, really really tough. So yeah, Tom, get in there, yeah. Tom is in the bath, and I don't think we want to see Tom in the bath and on the show. I don't even know if YouTube allows stuff like that. So, yeah, let's keep Mr. Tom. He wants to be clean, cool on the show. Yes. There we go. Sam can do what he wants. Doesn't mean Mr. Tom has to follow. And we've got some questions, and we'll go through the game when others arrive, or else I'll just do it myself. But I'll take some of your questions as we wait for others to join me. But should Trossard start? It's a good question. And it's an important question. It's been asked many times. Based on the way he performed today, some would say, no, that's what we want out of him. I think he should start now. Should he start the next match? I don't know about that. I can't see Arteta doing that. But he did let Vieira got a start today, and if that's based on form going into a game, then maybe Trossard, who I think showed today he's continuing on from where he was in preseason. He just maybe needed more games, and really nice touch from him to push that ball out with the goal. But yes, Trossard deserves a start. He should be part of a starting rotation that we have. Did he deserve to start today? I would have liked to have seen him start today, but I guess Arteta doesn't have that many let's say positions that he wants to change or number of players that he wants to pull in and out of the lineup. We'll see. We'll see in Champions League if how much difference the lineup will be. So that's the other parts of this thing. So yeah, he should start. Should he start the next game? I don't. It's not that he necessarily needs to start the next match, but he does need to be part of a rotation where he can start. And if Fabio Vieira can start in a game like today, then I think Trossard can start in any game that we play. Doesn't matter who it is, who it's against, and where it is, and what the situation is going into the Champions League. If we have to rotate, we should just rotate. That's where we need to be as a squad. PSV, we've played them last season, so it's not a team that we haven't been familiar with. Playing at home, that should be a positive. So yeah. So I think we should be okay in that sense. How did Eddie do? For me, Eddie, I guess, could he have done better? Yes. Did he do poor? Was he poor today? I don't think necessarily poor. I just think there are games where he's able to put a little bit more influence into the game, and this wasn't one of those. There were opportunities for him to do that, just things did not play out for him. So Nketiah tried to make some runs, the passes were never made. He did come back in support and made some really try to make some nice forward balls, passes forward into the box. He tried to do that. Didn't come off all the time, but that's just that's going to happen with the more time he plays and what we need. So I kind of felt like once again I always complain about him not running in certain situations, like to get back on side. I think that was no more apparent than in a game like this where it was imperative that he got back on side. And if he had got back on side, I think we may have been able to run away with this game. But that's just that this fraction of an inch there, but yeah, no, he did okay. Sometimes it's just not your game. So with that in mind, I think it would have been okay for him to come out as he did and Jesus to come on. So there's games where I think Trossard needed to come off if you're going to play a certain way, and we didn't do that today. And Nketiah just wasn't working out. Something needed to change, and having Jesus on the bench is reason to bring somebody in and take somebody out if we need to get the game. Base Ganesh says, should fan polls start to pick our squad? Arteta seems a bit slow. Special touch. I don't think we are in that position to do that. We are, as you say, just fans. I mean, I think now, whatever our lineup is, I don't think it matters at this point, right? I think we're in a better situation. And before you would pick the first 11 and go, that's our 11. Now Arteta is actually changing things around and knows and has confidence in hopefully a lot of these players that we can change the lineup, and it means absolutely nothing in terms of what we expect to get out of the team in terms of wins, and how we play. I think he wants to have a certain plan, whoever brings in, but in reality, we still should be able to compete and have a game go in our favor every time. So, nah, fans, no. Fabio being thrown in the deep and a bit early, it seems. When are you going to play him? If not, like now, you know what I mean? At some point, he's going to have to get games. They're going to be just like this. Fabio Vieira, Trossard, Nelson, and Milsufro, they're going to have to play in games, and they're all important. All of them. Doesn't matter who we're playing. They're all important because they're either 3 points or they're a step to the next round. You know what I mean? So he's just going to have to play, and that's why I kind of want rotation. I wanted rotation, and I got it. It seems in the first game of the season, and I would have liked to, see it pretty much all around. So Vieira got thrown in, but I think he actually held up his own. I think we were letting them dictate to us how to play. That's how I felt in this game. We needed to impose our will on the game, get better out of it. So yeah. It's like it might just be me. I'm expecting others to join me, but we'll see. If any of you guys want to join me, that's cool. We can chat it out. There's a lot of football going on. We'll get into that as well. That happened over this weekend. A lot of important things to talk about as well. Funny things that we can talk about. And this is the problem with sometimes us asking for rotation and Arteta actually being forced into it. He seems to get forced into it more than not, right? I don't think this is not something he could have foresaw, but we wanted Trossard to get starts, and I'm hoping in the way it looks, in the way that Martinelli came back out onto the bench, it's probably just precautionary, just like when Gabriel Magalhaes came out of the game on an international break. It was precautionary. They checked him out, and he played the next match. So Martinelli probably coming out, maybe tweak something, but I would hope that he's back in for the next match if he's going to start. That's the thing. If he's going to start, it's not now you are guaranteed a start, right? The only person that's guaranteed to start right now for me, Rice. Rice and basically our back line is probably, that's probably those are guaranteed spots in Erdogan, of course. But there's not as many, there's probably about 4 or 5 spots that we can switch players in and out, and we should be able to, and still not miss a beat. So hopefully Martinelli coming back out and sitting on the bench means precautionary. Let's check it out. Let's check it out tomorrow. Hopefully there's no further damage or issues with how he is, and we'll be okay. So, and then Mr. Tom, of course, has to make some nonsensical. Has to add his nonsense to the show. What do you make of the economic climate of Botswana? We'll move on. I have no answer for that because I don't know. I assume it's hot and they're making money. So, hot money? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. All right, so game time, yes, but starting at Goodison for your first start seems rough. Granted, we won, but very close to dropping points. Were we close to dropping points today? I mean, we scored early, got called back, scored late, scored later. I don't think. Well, I guess dropping points in the sense that, as you say, we could have had a draw, but I felt like we had opportunities to score in this game many times. So the fact that we I don't think it was that close to dropping points. I think as long as there was time on the clock, we had an opportunity to score any time, and we've shown that it doesn't matter when. Right, we're going to drop points at home to Manchester United, and we still were able to pull out and get the 3 points. Pull it out. Sorry, or pull it off. Sorry, Eesh. Bad phrase there. So yeah. So. Yeah. No, you know what? Fabio Vieira needs to be able to play in a game like Everton. If we're saying that those are the types of games that he's not, we don't expect him to play well in. Well, he just played in it, and I don't feel like he was overwhelmed by that midfield. I don't think the midfield really had too much of an issue in the game for us. Like they put a lot of pressure on us from that midfield. Felt like we held our own. No matter how many times we lost the ball, we were able to get it back. Declan Rice was a part of that. And Vieira, I guess I would want a lot more from him in terms of influence on the game. But as you say, it was a tougher game for him than usual. So we probably weren't going to see as much of him as we liked. So, but these players need to play. And Arteta maybe wanted to get those first 4 games in playing, what his starting 11, and then start figuring out rotation. And Everton was the game. If Fabio Vieira can play like this against Everton, who then going forward he should have a little bit more positive play, a lot but more influence on the game, because it may not be the same as what Trossard offers and puts on us. So Mr. Tom says he'll join us. He needs to get sorted. I assume that means clothing. Hopefully that's what that means. Russ has joined us. Russ, welcome to the show. Russ will give us some takes, I assume. Sounds like I don't care about Botswana. I don't know the economic climate in Botswana, and it's nonsense. So we move on, and we'll say Taib has joined us, and we'll skip ahead. But I saw your question there, BX, so we'll get into that as well. Nkedia out, crappy, dirty word, striker. Yeah, that's the thing. We call him a striker, and in games like today, you're like, this is the game where we wanted a striker, and we wanted the striker to have some kind of presence in the game. And Nkedia just doesn't give us that presence in the game from what is a striker a striker would give you in a game like today, where you're going up against a really physical team. You look at their back line, and those guys are pretty tall. I mean, every time I look, it's like our players are looking up at them. So we need to be able to have an answer for that as well. It's all, and also, depending on what you're looking at, is that our third, not necessarily our third striker, but one of our three strikers would be one that can compete in a game like today, versus maybe having two players similar to a Jesus. I don't think Eddie gives us that. So Eddie's, he doesn't give us these big striker presence that we want, and he's not as good on the ball and in the flow of the game, getting the flow of the game and the movement of the ball as Jesus will give us. And you saw a lot of balls being passed to Jesus, but he's just getting overpowered, and I don't feel like we saw enough of that when Nkedia was in there. So I think that says a lot about the way the game kind of opened up a little bit, or we created those situations, right? So I don't think Nkedia had a ball. I don't recall seeing him have a ball where it was just him and a defender, and he had a defender on his hip, and the objective was to get that ball. I don't think we saw that much. So yeah, Nkedia out. I think we just need to improve. To me, it's no different than the whole Xhaka thing. It's not that we want the next best thing, so we want something better than what we have. That's kind of what, and Nkedia gives us some solid play off the bench, solid starter for us. Sometimes we need a better player. If Jesus is the other answer that we have at that position, then we need something closer to Jesus, and Nkedia is not there yet. So BX Gun has a question here. Oh, yeah, a couple questions here. So where is Ray? Ray had some family stuff to do, so he's brought me on to host, and I'm just gonna ramble on here. So I'm not rambling, am I? Just chatting with you guys. Yeah. So yeah, Ray. I don't know if he had a chance to watch. I think he had a chance to watch the game. He did pop in for a little bit and watch along, but he's away from his desk. Guys say hello to each other. You're a pot of expensive perfume. And Tai responds with, "You are a toilet brush, basically." Poundland, I believe Poundland is like our Dollar Tree. So I don't know how that's going to work. But got a question from BX Gunner. Let this one sit for a little bit. So do we have a striker issue or a midfield issue? The squad has me asking more questions. Let's just drinking my tea to water the throat so I don't throat doesn't dry up on me. But yeah, do we have a striker issue or a midfield issue? All right, striker issue. Do we have a striker issue? I think we just need another answer that is going to be part of our rotation. Now, if that's Havertz, I think a lot of people think that might be a better answer to where we put Havertz. If that is not Havertz, then we need to get another player. Maybe you need to go out there and get one of those big names. So I don't know if necessarily we have an issue. We are I guess if you want to say issue because everything else seems to be solid in lots of the other positions. Goalkeeper, no. Backline, we're pretty solid, but we're a little light because of the injuries to um, Timber, right? And in some cases, maybe even Partey, since Partey was asked to play right back. But you've got Kirior there, and who else do we have on that back line? Because you talk about questions in terms of where we have issues, and right now you've got Tomiyasu and Kirior as our basically our defensive um, depth. All right, Tomiyasu can play as a center back if needed. I think he plays that for Japan. Kirior is still, I think he's still getting acclimated to this Premier League thing. So to me, it's almost like we have probably sort of issues around all around the pitch. But at striker, I don't. We have answers there. We don't know if Charles has the answer, so that might be an answer for us. But between Jesus and Nketi, I think we're okay. If Jesus comes back to full health now, based on where we are right now, I just will we even see Jesus? I guess will we see Jesus start in the next match? Because they basically come, as they say, thick and fast, right? We have got from the 20th of September till the international break, right on the 6th. So in less than a month, we've got one, two, three, four. We got six matches, right? So 6 matches in less than a month, in I guess in almost in less than a month, and we're gonna need to see what we got. So yeah, no issue. I think we do need some depth there if we don't have the answers for us right now. Jesus, we just need to get him back in midfield. Do we have a midfield issue? Behind Erdegaard, I think you've got Fabio Vieira that can come in and play that position. Usually comes in from the left side though when he comes in. Um, Rice and Jorginho, I think, gives us that answer there. So I say no. Havertz is, everybody looks at his stats and says he's doing what he needs to do. So in the midfield, I think we're okay. We have answers there. We know Milsroof Rowe could come in and play in that midfield area there if needed, right? So I don't think we necessarily have an issue. I think we have more of an issue with the striker, but none of these issues are, as they say, life-threatening. But can we do better? Yes, we should. We should. It would be nice to improve on what we have. We've been asking a lot of questions, but you know what? We're winning. We're not losing. We're not losing. So I'm going to take that as we still have room to improve, which is good. You know, if somebody said, you know what, we're playing our best and we can only get a 1-0 draw, 1-0 win at Goodison Park, then I would say we had an issue. But I think the fact that we're struggling still, like to get to where we want to be, I think we're okay. We're okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we've got our next question coming up. I don't know. See who else joins us. So Gary, how do you feel? How are you feeling about the game against that team next weekend? Are you worried, or so you think Arsenal will turn them over? I think it'll. I think it'll be a tougher game than the last time we played them because I think they probably now have a better structure and they're probably more. They're using they're getting the best potential out of the players that they do have now. Not asking them either to do too much, and they've got a system in place. So I think the game will be tougher than it was last time. I think can they be got? I believe so. I think they're the last match it went. They were losing right going into extra time. If we're playing in a situation like that where it's us against them and they haven't scored with 90 minutes turning over at that point in the game, I would expect us to have a lead, right? So I think once again we're the better squad. We are better squad. Are we playing up to our level that we want to be? No. Are they playing at their level? I would say yes. Can they get any higher than that? I don't think so. So I think we still have a couple of gears that we can go up to, I believe, with the way we've been playing. So it should be necessarily a comfortable win. No, it should. We're going to have to work for it. They're not going to give it to us. But based on where we are in our progress, as some would say, we're ahead of them. So it might be a little tight, but we should be able to get the win. I think we're at home. We take a lead in that game early, like we wanted to do today. Um, we were able to take the game to them and run away with it. So I think we should be all right. But once again, we're thinking too far ahead, Tayyib. We got a big game coming up on Wednesday. We are playing PSV in the Champions League, first time in a long time for Arsenal. I think Arteta can't be looking forward to the next Premier League match. Should just be looking forward to the next match. So we're going to put everything we can into the Champions League game. We need to come out in that firing with a really good plan, not worrying about the weekend. That will come when it comes. Go out there and essentially smack them in the mouth, punch them in the mouth. By the time they look up at the scoreboard, we're up a goal or two. That's what we need to be able to do at some point in this season. Haven't been able to do that and feel like we've been doing that. So yeah, so I think that team, that game should be the furthest thing in our minds right now. Um, there's no we have bigger. So that's so I was about to say not bigger fish to fry, but we have something more important that we need to work on, which is the next game. So it's not the game on the weekend, but it's the next match. All right. So home to PSV and then home to that team. We need to continue. We've got a 2-game winning streak right now. We need to get that to 3 and then 4 and then continue on from there. So yeah. Now I'm feeling confident that we can go into that game and get the win. We're playing at home. We need to play a lot better at home. They will come at us, right? Son is not going to sit back. Kulu is not going to sit back. So they will take their chances. We have to play much better defensively, but we also have to play much better offensively too. We need to make their goalkeeper move around the pitch, around the goal when we take shots. So yeah, yeah. Can we win it? Yeah, yeah. And as I said, 3 goals is the marker that we need to put down. Um, Today, I don't feel like we even could have got. I think 2 might have been the most we would have gotten today on the way the game went, but that's the way that Everton probably wanted it to go. They didn't want to give us too much. If you look at their last 3 Premier League games, I think they've all been 1 goal and only been 1 goal play. 1 goal games and only been 1 goal scored. Just so happens that they've lost some of those. They've lost most of those. Um, I think they beat a team but that was in the EFL Cup. So yeah, I feel confident going into this game based on where we are. And are we playing at our level now? Can teams play us at the level we're playing now? I don't believe so. So we should be good there. I think it was Misfit that said this is very reminiscent of Emery's 22 unbeaten runs. Very true. Is that true there? I don't feel so. I feel like that because I don't today. I don't feel like Everton was going to score on us. Whereas in those other games, if you remember in that unbeaten streak with Emery, the reason why it seemed kind of like fake to me was because the other teams were terrible in front of goal and they missed many an opportunity to take a lead or to draw those games and stuff like that. So I felt like that's why it's like we can't continue to get points like this because it's not long term. It's not a good approach. Whereas these runs right now, teams they're getting few and far between chances. They're just hitting them every time it seems. In that, but they're not missing as many as they were in that run with Emery. So I kind of felt like that's the difference. I think, and we're not even. I think we were playing as good as we could in that run with the players that we had. I think we've got a bigger, um, a level that we can get up to. So, yeah, I don't think it's the same. I think we're a much better squad than that one, and I don't think the other teams are necessarily just squandering the chances that they're getting. Like Everton today, I think their expected goals was 0.3. I don't think there was a shot that you went, oh, they almost scored there, right? They did get some shots off, but no way they didn't threaten a goal. So I don't even know if they had a shot that threatened a goal. So let's take a look at that. Had one shot on target. Yeah, yeah. Of the 8 shots that they got today, we had 13 and 4 shots on target. They had 3 shots off target, so 8. No, I think, yeah, this is a different kind of a run. We're a different kind of team, and I don't think it's reminiscent of what we saw. If we go on a 22 game unbeaten streak now, we're going to have a lot more, a lot more wins than we would have had in the streak we had with Emery, and that's what we need to do, and I think we can do that. So, yeah. So for me, not necessarily reminiscent, not the same. So no. But it'd be nice to say that's where we like. It would be nice to say like, what are we at now? I guess if you want to count the Charity Shield, right? We're on 6 games unbeaten for this season, so we got another 16 to go at least till we start talking like that. And if the 16 games from now, we may have had a solid control of the group, because that would mean that we wouldn't have lost in at least 4 of the 6 matches that we have, and we could control things the way we want at that point. PSV and that team will be very challenging considering Arteta makes it harder than it needs to be. I think it looks like it's harder because I think Arteta is trying things out. I think he's trying things out, and we wanted depth in the squad. I've always asked for depth and I've asked for rotation. This is what it looks like. I mean, we went into this match and we haven't even talked about the lineup, and we looked at our bench, right? We looked at our bench today, and if you look at our bench and who we had sitting on the bench today, let's see. Let me try and pull this up over here on my screen here. If you look at our bench today, right? You've got Ramsdale, that's 1 starter. You've got Jesus, that's another starter. You've got Havertz, that's 3 starters. Trossard can start for us, right? Jorginho can start for us. Those are legitimate players that will start for us. Tomiyasu, as part of rotation, should be able to start for us. Kirior has started for us in the past. Smith Rowe and Nelson was still waiting for them to get time in the game, and they didn't play today, right? So chances that they're going to probably play much are going to be slim, I think, until we play in the EFL, right? Hopefully they get starts or at least get some minutes by then. It's going to be hard to think about them starting, right? Because Trossard came off the bench, Havertz coming off the bench, and they definitely can start for us. Will Erdegaard actually rest and let Fabio Vieira get a try? We'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah. So I think it's challenging because we haven't had an opportunity to have such a strong team squad. And so this is all new for a lot of us, at least with Arteta, seeing a squad like this and then expecting them to be the same. We're not, like I think Ramsdale or Raya today would have looked the same. They didn't put much pressure on us. Raya did not have to get to use his feet as much as we talked about. Who else? Vieira was a little bit quiet for me, but the fact that we had control of this game, I think, in reality, wasn't an issue. So yeah. So next up, the Assembled has joined us, and I think I'm 6 minutes behind, but I want to be able to chat about everything that you guys want to talk about. The result was more important today. Performances can be improved. Yeah, and that is the key thing that I like to see. All right, and let you guys sit on that while I take a little sip here. Performance. I take performance over results every day. That's what I do. People say, no, I want the results, but The reason why I say take the performance is because the performance gets us a 1-0 win today, right? Because our level is higher than the other team. So even when we're not having a good day, we might be coming down to their level, but we still better than them. And we always have better answers coming off our bench than they do. So performance, I want to keep our performance up and get it increasingly better each time we play. And the results hopefully become easier and easier. So we'll take in the 3 points. I'm taking the 3 points. I'm happy for the 3 points. I would have liked to see us dig into the goal difference a little bit more. I was hoping, I had 4-0, which looking back at it now, it's like, wow. Some people Colonel Ward had us losing 2-1 today, which I didn't see that happening. So yeah, no, I'll take performances any day. And as we continue on, look who's joined us here. Got Mr. joined us. Welcome. How are you?
Your audio has gone a bit.
My audio's gone. Does it sound
No,
better?
no. It came out. How are you? Like it was stilted.
Okay. Is it still doing that now?
No, it's fine. Must have just been
Okay.
that one occasion.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So we were just chatting. I don't know if you like. This is the latest comment, and we're kind of just been going through the comments right now. That's got me going here. Not chatting too much about the game, but about whatever questions. And the result was important, but performances can be improved, right? And that's for me. I'll take performance over result any day. I mean, if you have performance, it's more consistent and it doesn't change. A result can either be win, loss, draw, but performances you can build on those, and the better you are at them, the more the results go in your favor. So, what do you think about? I mean, did you watch the game today? I don't know if you had a chance to even watch it.
I did not know, quite frankly.
Okay. Yeah.
Why would I? I mean, I don't watch the Premier League anymore.
That is true.
No, but I did see the offside, and I mean that raised questions personally, but
yeah.
But no, ultimately you've won 1-0, and that you just take the points to go on. Performance matters to the extent, but results are what bring the trophies come May.
Yeah, but the reason why I say I take performance over results is a more consistent performance from your team guarantees you points, but just hoping that things go your way, that the other team misses their opportunities. Now, like if you say you're not going to get chances, that's based on your performance.
Yeah.
So you limit, you increase, you lower your risk when you play really good, right? The other team gets nothing, you get more opportunities, you have more possession. So that's why I always kind of go with the performance. And we'll get into the offsides because that's a good point. The offsides, and for me, we'll get into it. So let's say just look at these last two comments, and we get into the offside. That's a good point to bring up. No Partey, no Havertz, no Jesus allowed Everton the chance to set the physically tone early on. I never felt like the physicality in the game was going against us today. We had 75% to 80% of possession of the game, of the ball. I don't think their presence and their physicality was making it tough for us. I think our hesitancy to move the ball forward in an attack when we had the numbers made it easy for Everton to stay in to not be too pressured. So yeah, no, we're going to play ourselves into form, and that's we're going to continue to get better. Your words were mixed up. All right. Because exactly, we need to improve the dynamics of the squad when the physicality of the team is missing. Yeah, but I think we're good enough that we can overcome physicality from the other team. But you did make a good point, Mr. Tom. The offsides, and I'll tell you my side of it, but I'll let you go first because you said you did have some thoughts on. I assume it's on the Martinelli offsides. The play
Well,
that
you're
took away
saying
Martinelli.
offsides like there was more than one. I only knew of one. So
Well, there was like
that's
a
the new
yeah.
information.
So sorry, there was a call maybe for an offsides on the second goal, but nothing came to that. But so
Okay.
but yeah, on that the first goal that we scored, there was an offsides there, and I'll let you go first on what you were thinking about that.
I find it interesting. You've not benefited from it on this occasion, but you kind of did against Manchester United. But in that, they don't seem to have a camera that covers every blade of grass as such. In terms of like an offside line, like which I find a bit strange, especially at Premier League level and with the money it generates, that you can't find a way to get a straight line.
Do you know why you can't do that? Because that would mean you have to have a camera at field level that's able to move up and down the pitch without people interfering in front of it. So I mean, how you can't do that. That's why it has to be at an angle so you can get in, and then you have to use science essentially by looking at the angle of the camera and build that all in to create a straight line across the field. That's
Okay,
that's why. So that's for me. That's why you're never going to get that straight on view, unless and like they don't have a camera above that might show things as well. But you also need to look at the body positioning to also see that. So that's why I believe that there's always an angle when you have this,
okay.
because it's the only way to see the entire pitch and stuff like that.
My way to combat that would be have the camera at the top of the stadium pointing down.
Yeah, but you can't see where somebody's foot is sometimes because their arm might be in the way. So yeah.
That is true, but
Yeah. No, I think they
uh,
should be able to use all the camera angles to determine, and if they need to, they go to the next one if they're not unclear. You know what I mean? So yeah, I when I first saw it, I knew Nketiah was coming from an offside position, so I was like, ooh, hopefully that doesn't come up to be an issue, right? But he did. It looked like, if you look at it like live, he's coming from an offside position. So whether he was already on site at that point, it's hard to tell because it happened so fast. But you can see his hesitancy after he made that touch, and the 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 Everton players did put their arms up like, I think he's offside. So a lot of that could influence what was going on.
I guess to a degree, I'm meaning more in the context that I'm surprised the Premier League have not anticipated that this may be an issue,
Yeah,
and it's because there always seems to be an issue. It'll be like, oh, what's the handball rule, and which seems to change every 3 months, or what is, and they always it seems to be all right. They make a ruling on something, and then something else happens where it's like, oh, what's your ruling on that then? And it's like, but football's been going for like over 100 years,
yeah,
and these things seem to be cropping up more and more often, and they
yeah,
seem to be not very good at dealing with it swiftly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, as you said, the rules haven't significantly changed since VAR came in. So that's why it should be up for interpretation. Shouldn't really be an issue anymore. It should be the same thing. But for the offsides, I don't think there's any interpretation required for that. It's just some lines on a screen, and as long as you're consistent doing that, which we hope, right? Then it shouldn't
Yeah,
matter. It shouldn't matter. We hope that they're consistent with the way they draw the lines every time. So it's pretty, and they can show it now. The one thing, like, so initially when I saw it, I was like, oh, he's coming from offside, so hopefully he got back on side. For me, that's always an issue with Nketiah. Did he get back on side when he goes offside? Does he get back in time? And the way that play, if you look at like I watched a couple of replays of it, he takes his time getting back on side there. And I think if he gets on side, he can actually make a turn, and he's able to even take that ball himself through the middle, because the ball gets to him and he makes a really nice pass out wide. But if he gets there sooner, he might even be able to take that ball up through the middle of the pitch and maybe get an opportunity. But he's a little late getting back on side, which I is as they say, a pet peeve of mine with him, is that I want him to be on side so he can make that run, because he never knows when it's going to come. And then when you see the lines being drawn, if you look, you can see the ball is up in the air where with the before the pass is made, which I believe the ball was on the ground when the pass is made. So for me, was that line drawn at the point where because I believe you're offsides when the pass is made, right? And if he's
Yeah.
onside before that pass is made, then all bets are off, right? It's good. It's called a goal. So I kind of felt like initially I thought, oh, this could be tight, and then they show the video. He's definitely offsides with the snapshot that they sent us. But was that actually the last possible moment? And as you said, is this kind of a technology hindering us where that is the best they could do, and they didn't actually give us the best view when the ball was about to be passed? Did Nketiah get back? Like, what was the point where Nketiah got back onside? You know, was it later, or was it on? Or did they just show us the part where he was offside, but he never got back onside, and they just left it at that? So for me, it got called off. We got the win, so we'll take it. But as for you, that's one of those not clear and evident mistakes. I think in the game, it's hard to tell. You just make a judgment call. The science is supposed to back you up, so that's what they're doing. Yeah.
It's year 4 or 5, I can't remember which one, of this VAR existing. And it just seems to have created new problems.
Yep. Technology does that, right? Every time you try to make things a little bit easier for you, you just complicate it more, right? We got rid of paper, right? But now we're dealing with computer screens and all this other stuff, and so nothing. It never seems like it. It never makes things better. It just adds more. It's like more money, more problems type of thing, right? Yes, you have more money, but now you have more problems. So same thing here with the technology, because there's always something better you can do. We've got Stephen in the house. Welcome to the show. Stephen, as he says, been infected by the COVID bug, so we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him. It says it was a result, but another poor performance. Saka was our worst player despite the assist. He has no acceleration to beat his man one-on-one because of this injury he has. I think that game, Mikolenko basically just left a lot on Saka throughout that game. I mean, the one where he actually takes him out and nobody sees it, for example, is telling of how how he's not getting. He should get protected, and not because he's an English player and all of that, and everybody likes him, but because players should get protected in that situation. And nothing happened to that. There was no foul given, no yellow. Like Gabriel makes one play based on the way this game went, and immediately got the yellow. And a player gets taken out, and nothing's. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads me to a question, because Misfit has said poor performance. So, to anyone who hears this, and Gary, out of 10, what would you grade the performance? Like a number that popped into your head as soon as I said this. What number entered your head? Like, not more you think about it and stuff. Like, just instinctually, what do you think the performance was out of 10?
So for me, immediately 6 comes to mind.
Okay.
Right. 5 is average. 6 is just a little bit better than that. So 6 comes to my mind, and it's more because of defensively they weren't off. Defensively, we didn't really get threatened. So for me, that means that our offense needed to be able to take advantage of that, and we weren't able to do that. So the offensive presence and advantage we should have had, we didn't even see it in a game like this. So the offense really let us down today. Even
pretty promising though, isn't it? That you win with a 6.
Yeah. No, and that's why I said there's levels to this thing, and I don't bring it up just because you're here, but that's because the performance is such that when we're having a bad performance, the other team still doesn't get much out of it, right? We play poorly, and they still don't get an opportunity to steal it from us. Like Everton today didn't get much of an opportunity to steal it.
Don't get me wrong. With the nature of football, you can play a 2 out of 10 and win.
Yeah.
Like that can happen.
Yeah.
Not often, very rare, but
Mhm.
possible. But it's still promising, I'd say, for you. And
Yeah.
you all know that, really. But,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Sam is welcoming you to the show and me.
Well, who's the third person on the show then?
He said Arsenal fan, and he's looking at you. So there you go.
I'd be wearing Arsenal kit if that was the case.
I,
I'm
I,
not gonna,
you know what? You
I'm
can
gonna
choose
spend
to wear
money
whatever
on.
you want, and we can't just judge you on what you wear, right? So, if you're an Arsenal fan inside in your heart, then just because your shirt says otherwise doesn't mean that we can't.
Oh, no, oh.
We
You've
can't.
seen the cost of football shirts in 2023. I ain't bloody wearing one
I don't know
until
how
I don't
rich you
support.
are, Mr. Tom. You could be rich where this is just your bedtime shirt. You just
Oh,
wear this
yeah,
before you go to bed, right?
I could be the secret millionaire, I suppose. But
We don't know this. We don't know this, but
you
Big's
don't. You
kind of
don't.
agrees with the six. Sam also agrees with the six. Hawkwind, welcome to the show. He also agrees with the six. So I think like I
Three
said,
sixes doesn't
yeah,
sound promising.
that doesn't sound good, right? It was a fourth six because so does it the
All
fourth
right.
six does that kill it? Does that kill like
No,
the
yeah,
bad
yeah,
feelings?
we're good. We're good. We're good.
As I said, we'll get into so we have these comments about some of the stuff that was going on. So this is one comment. Misfit, what do you think that Nelson or Melserville should be played to allow Saka to have the rest he needs for that injury to heal properly? I don't think it's an injury like per se. He got injured, now he can't play. I think it's just it's a knock that players have to deal with in certain parts of their body, no matter whether they get the rest or not. But you need to rotate them in and out so it doesn't become a problem. So I kind of felt like that's what they need to be able to do. Like I think you see with Kyle Walker, I don't believe he can play 90 minutes every game every week. So I think he comes in and out of the lineup when they need him and when they require him, he comes on and he plays well. And I think Arteta needs to be able to do that with certain players because of where they sit physically. So yeah, I think the decision on Saka, I think this is what you're talking about here. Russ was pretty poor. Nothing happened to Saka on that blatant yellow card on Saka, not even looked at. The refs are terrible all across the board. Yeah, that was definitely a play there where they missed something there.
They're
And
scared of Daesh. Everton get away with murder and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So that's what we saw. So yeah. What else we got here? Misfit says, as I said, along with Sam, at this rate, Saka will need surgery in 2 months. I give Saka a 5 only for the assist he got, otherwise 4. Yeah, no, and what's interesting about that, if you saw the play from Saka, it was I think Erdegaard, and it was coming off a corner. We had this new way to take corners where we had two players there, a short corner, and then we let them dictate what we were going to do. Either we're going to take it down the goal line or cut inside and get into the box. Whatever they decided to do, we just took advantage of it, which is what I liked. Multiple times we went down that goal line, and in this case, Saka is able to put a ball in, and Trossard making a run towards the goal, is able to get his foot on it, and is able to touch it past the goalkeeper on the far side. So that it was working, and we had at that point, I think that was like our 8th corner. The first set of corners we were doing were all these long corners where we have no aerial presence, right? So most of the time it was Pickford or somebody in a blue shirt basically clearing it. So I think the short corner worked for us today. If that's what we're going to do going forward, I think that gives us an advantage because we get past one of their defenders and now we've broken them down and they have to adjust. Let's see. We play football in the UK. Troy, you stinking slag. I think that.
You really need to read them before you say them.
Yeah. Is that a bad word?
Still, uh, there are worse words, but it's certainly not PG.
All right. All right.
Look who wrote it. Look who wrote the comment.
So I'll never. So I shouldn't ever read any of Sam's comments.
You're far too trusting.
All right. Saliba was clutch, other than a theatrical failing. laugh out loud, made a lot of great. Yeah, there was that one play where the ball came out and it was an attacker coming on to our back line. Saliba was there and basically just cleaned it up and nothing came of it. So defensively, I think we were sound. They barely got anything. Barely got anything. Tom randomly putting money in. I don't know who this guy is. So
He used to be the chairman of Leeds United.
okay. Yeah, Misfit. What does it say if a half-fit Saka is playing ahead of fully fit players?
I can't wait for you to get to the next comment.
Okay, so we'll go through this one and we'll get to Sam. Sam has been going after everybody today. I think yesterday Sam seemed to be seemed to be a happy man. Woke up this morning and not so happy. Sam hasn't been happy, so we'll get to that next comment. But we'll go with this one first. Yeah, Saka does not look close to 100%, which no player is. Deserves, not just deserves, but should get an opportunity to see out, to watch a game from the bench and maybe come in if needed. I don't think we would. The way this game went, I don't think we would have missed him if he didn't start. And maybe you give somebody else a start, and maybe if you're gonna, maybe you give somebody else a start. Maybe that's Trossard comes out and plays on that right hand side or something like that. So yeah, it would have been. At some point we're going to have to rotate them. So why not this game? This is, this game is just as important as every other match we're playing. So, yeah, I kind of felt like at some point he should be able to come in and out of the game. He is not the player. He's not playing his form isn't where it needs to be. His performances are nowhere near what we've seen. So that for Martinelli today, he looked really on it today. From the right hand side, not so much. So yeah, I think we can see there's more to Saka's game. We didn't see it today, and if that's because we're just wearing him down, I think that's poor judgment on Arteta. But here we go. Mr. Tom wants us to read. I'm going to read out this and then let Mr. Tom have his say.
Yeah,
so here we
please.
go. So Tom has come on the Arsenal fan circle post Everton show asking what he thought about Trossard's substitute performance and the performance of Fabio Vieira, who started the match.
Wow, I'm glad Sam has asked such a loaded question with the intention of catching me out of having not seen it. When one of the first things I actually said when I came on, Gary, just reenact it. Gary, please ask me what you asked when I first clicked that. You went,
Mr. Tom, how are you doing? Did you get a chance to watch the game?
Did I get a chance to watch the game? No, I don't watch Premier League football, Gary. What happened? Like, I'm pretending I've seen it, but I know enough to know that you brought a man on, he scored, and now the fan base are doing the thing where it's like, oh, should he be starting? Oh, I think he should have been. Oh, Lego Ed should have started him. And by that, I mean Tony Turner put a comment in one of the groups, which I happen to see. But I'm taking Tony's comment as a bit of the zeitgeist of what Arsenal fans are like when the sub scores.
So
all football fans.
So Tony Turner is your that's your view into the Arsenal fan base. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's an unfair view considering what he actually said, because it's natural when a sub scores and wins a game for people to be like, well, start him next game. But why isn't he starting? Maybe it's because he is that impact player and that he's actually better in the short bursts. Maybe. I don't know. That could be it.
Yeah, they're both. It's a good answer, and but I think, as I've always said, we need to be able to rotate our players. So yes, they should be able to come off the bench and produce, like we've seen from Jesus, because we see Jesus come on and perform now once again for us. I don't know if he had much of an influence on the play today, but we see him come on and he has produced. So other players should also get their opportunity to come off the bench and do that too. So Sam says he doesn't. He's as happy as punch, and I don't get what you're talking about. So I'm assuming he's not talking to me. I think I've been clear.
It's because you said he's been going for everyone. So he was like, I'm happy as punch. I don't get what you were talking about.
As I recall, you and him were going back and forth in the watch along. So
We were.
I don't know what he means by I don't know what you're talking about when you just confirmed by saying we were that there wasn't Sam was just like not having a good day, it seemed.
I love personally. My favourite part was Ryan of all people being all. Tom's come in the chat and he's starting beef with Sam when I hadn't started anything. I was just pleased as punch to not be a loser for once, and I was and Sam had took exception to me being pleased that my team had won, and then about 3 hours later, Ryan's like, everyone, let him enjoy his win, and I was like, yeah, Ryan, hang on a minute. Why's Ryan defending me? Like, it's not these are all emotions that I was not used to. Sorry. Yeah, congratulations on your win and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See, Steven says here the assembled. It says to me that Arteta really has to trust his players more and improve his game management skills. It's something I've been saying for over a year. Yeah. And I mean, if Arteta spends money on Havertz and feels like he needs to play him, he spent money on every player he's brought in, and if they perform above either that money or if they perform, they should get an opportunity to play and play more as they get better. So, yeah, Arteta, I think I was hoping to see some of the other players coming, but I think the way the game went meant we had to just make sure we got the points. So Emil Rowe and Nelson just didn't get an opportunity today. It would have been Kirior should have come on, hopefully to give us a rest. Jorginho could have come on to see the game out. But I think Rice just needs more games with this team. He looked really good today. He made a couple of mistakes, but he redeemed himself immediately afterwards. So I think we're doing all right there. So this is like that time when the BBC accidentally brought on a African minister's driver instead of the minister himself.
This is a thing that really happened in 2006. The guy's name was Guy Goma. This is genuinely true. He sat there like a deer in headlights. He's been questioned on all sorts of things because he's supposedly and basically he sat there and he starts making things up. But one of the things they said was that, keep in mind, it's 2006. He was like, well, in the future, I think people are going to be downloading their music on the internet. And it was like, he's right. He was right. But, yeah, that's the thing that happened. And he's suing the BBC right now, in case anyone wondered, for royalties.
Because he claimed it. He claimed that his claim of fame is he said people would download his music. Got it.
Well, no, I think it's more because of the amount of money they make off of clips that involve that incident.
Okay. Yeah, I think you were by being on the video, you kind of release any of that kind of you don't get the benefit from it. If I recall, it's just either it's unwritten or it's just part of being part of it. So Fabio seemed more impactful as a sub right now. He does. But you know what? At some point, he's going to need to start. So I get it. I get that he is an impactful sub, but he's going to need to play a game from the onset, right? From the whistle goes off, he's going to need to play, and we should be able to have games for him to play. And they can't only be cup matches; they have to be Premier League matches. We can't ask somebody to come in and just start their first game in the Premier League just because we have injuries and whatnot. It just has to be. We brought him in because he deserves a start, and now it's his time. So I kind of felt like that's why we need to rotate. And I'm going to say again, saying this all the time, we need to be able to rotate our players in and out the lineup. And so yeah. Steven's like, come on, guys. We know we won't see Trossard for another month. Arteta won't put up with that scoring performance, and Trossard is doing that too much. That's just as they say, career suicide by not playing players that are performing for you. It kind of makes absolutely no sense. And once again, if Arteta is following his mentor, I don't think Pep would do that. If he's learned anything from Pep, I have no doubt that he's not just going to say he's going to probably think, as you say, he is a sub, he's an impactful sub off the bench and not a player that can start for us. But they will need to start games. Pep's players don't start all 38 games in a Premier League season, right? And we need to be able to do the same because we're going to need everybody to compete in all of these games, right? We're going to need that. So, yeah, we're going to need that. Saying hello. Yeah, this is getting nasty there with Sam and Taib. Just elixir there of bad things that are going to happen.
They should be on some sort of government watch list. Especially Sam Greenwood, but especially Taib.
Yeah, both of them together is just asking for trouble in the chat. Trouble in the chat. All right, so you guys, I don't know if you guys have any more comments to bring up. We have hit an hour, which is pretty cool. I didn't know how far this thing would go. I probably could have been, doing my chat for as long. You've been really good keeping us hopefully I've been keeping you entertained, and you've been how they say, active in the chat because of the content and the stuff that we're bringing out. So, yeah, we'll go through. What do you have, Mr. Tom? Anything?
I've got a question for the chat, for the experts. Yeah, because you're all experts, right?
Yeah.
I've ordained you all as experts.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be the first managerial sacking in Premier League? And I know technically the Wolves manager was first, but who's the next managerial sacking? Who's gone? Is Dyche in trouble? I don't know much else that's going on in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because you look at the table, right? And do we think any of the teams? Well, Everton is the one team in the relegation zone that we're like, well, they've been here before, right? They've been here before, but if you look at the bottom 6 teams, maybe even the bottom 7 teams, if you want to count and go that far, but if you want to go to bottom 8 teams, even because you've got sitting there from in 13th, you've got Manchester United, 14th Chelsea, Bournemouth, Wolves, Sheffield United, and then in the relegation zone, you've got Everton, Burnley, and Luton. Luton and Burnley, I think, are in trouble, right? Are in trouble, I think. Luton is going to have.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
Burnley
I think
and Luton are on 0.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be tough for them to not necessarily they have opportunities to get points. I just don't think they're going to have a squad to do that. And I think we saw from Nottingham Forest and I believe we saw from Leeds when they came into the league. There's certain ways you need to be able to play. If you're going to play your style, then you just need to play your style, and that might get you points because when you're on, you're on. And if you're not, then you might have to do the Nottingham Forest thing where you bring in a lot of players and you just and it clicks, right? It's tough to come into this league. So I think it's going to be tough for all 3 teams. So that's Sheffield United, Burnley, and Luton all probably will struggle. But Wolves don't look really that good. Right?
What you're saying is true, because I only speak from my team's experience. When we first got promoted back into the Premier League and the way we were playing, we lost 4-3 at Liverpool, and then literally next week we won 4-3 against Fulham.
Yeah.
So we basically were like getting battered one week and then battering someone else. The next, like we would get done. Off the top of my head, say we'd lose 4-1 at Crystal Palace, but then we'd win 5-0 against West Brom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you commit to that, it can work for you.
Yeah. Some people saying Vincent Kompany. I don't know. I think it's tough to come into this league, and if you sack a manager and you go back to the Champions League, then you're starting from scratch again, and with a coach who hadn't, So I think it's a tough one to sack your manager because they not necessarily barely made it, but they got promoted into the league, and the chances that they go back down are higher than most teams. So You can't like go into it thinking, all right, they're going to stay up just because they won the league, the championship, or whatnot. It's tough. It's tough. Look
He'll,
at the teams. Look at all the teams that are sitting in that bottom sixth position right now. Bournemouth, Wolves, Sheffield United, Everton, Burnley, Luton. Similar to what we probably saw all of last season in terms of teams that would be towards the bottom of the table and could potentially be out of it, out of the league by the end. It's not a surprise. Uh,
exactly. Like, I'm not surprised to see Chelsea are also in the bottom seven.
mm,
Just half of the course nowadays. Um,
yeah,
but it's true. Like, I feel Vincent Company will get, because of how good they were last season in the Championship, he will get till January. Like, they will wait till the last possible moment before giving someone time to buy some players.
true, true. And I think that's the thing. Like you win that league, and it takes a little time to recover from getting the win because it's a really tough schedule and a tough year and all of that. You win it, and now also like immediately you have to start thinking about how am I gonna how should we perform in the league and what does that take? We don't necessarily want to be we don't want to, as they say, we don't need to be first, but we just don't want to be last kind of thing. You know what I mean? I just need to be faster than the three worst teams out there. And if I can do that, then I can keep my team in the in the league. So got a couple of questions here, and so we will bring those up. Taib and Sam.
Questions,
Yeah, I got questions
questions,
for us. Yeah,
questions from the fan base.
from the fan
Questions.
base. Yes. We got questions. So first one up, Taib. Gary, what do you think of Fabio Vieira's performance? As I said, it wasn't he wasn't as influential as I wanted him to be. I don't think the midfield of Everton caused him too many problems. I probably would need to go back and watch that, but I don't feel like the issue that we thought going in was that Vieira would have issues with an aggressive and physical midfield. I don't think that was a cause for any concern today. I think even when he was on the ball and they were coming at him, I think he was able to, get away from them without letting them get too close to him and take the ball off of him. I don't recall that happening in the game, so I think he played well, and I think it's his first time playing in a Premier League in a start like that on the road against Everton. I think that's a good test. There were questions asked of him. Did he get straight A's? I don't think so. Does he have room to improve? Yes. Did we get the win? Yes. So all of that is a good thing. So he didn't cause any problems for us, but I would have liked him to create some more, can create more, lower the risk and give us more advantages. So here we go. Got a question for you. You can answer this one from Sam. Which player are you most happy with so far this season? Of course, that's an Arsenal question for me, but that's a Leeds question for you. So, Mr. Tom,
Uh,
Leeds.
well, I will get into that probably on my own show in
Okay.
47 minutes, but I will answer it out of respect for Sam. Ethan Ampadu
Mm,
is probably the top player in performance wise.
okay.
I just think generally he's worked imperiously, like worked hard. Um, I can see why he's so highly thought of, despite the fact that he suffered 3 consecutive relegations while out on loan.
Mm, mm,
He
mm.
always seems to be like the shining beacon in a terrible team.
Yeah.
And I know I've just said he's the shining beacon in my team, but we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Just could be worse. Could be worse.
True. True.
7 million from
That's
Chelsea.
cool.
7 million. Good
That's
value. Good value.
yeah. That's good. So for me, I guess I'm going to answer this with two answers, and I'll tell you why. Uh, I'm happy. I'm most happy with Rice, and the reason why I say there's two answers to this is because there was that question about Rice and Casado, which one do you want? And I personally would have been okay with us getting Casado, but Rice is what we wanted him to be, and he's actually performed that way as well. We knew bringing him in, it would be a new position for him. He's going to have to learn a little bit more while he's out there. But I also think the leadership that he brings is, even more apparent. even with Erdegaard there, I think Rice does bring something. There is some calmness to that midfield when he has the ball. And even when the other team thinks they've got something on us, he's there to clean it up. So that's been really good for us. So I kind of like Rice in that sense. I mean, the other players, I think Martinelli's been a more of a he's probably of the attackers that we had. He's been the most he's had the best performances. But I would like him to score more. But I think Rice has been the most. He's made me the most happy. I think Vieira coming off the bench has shown us that he just needed some time. Right, he needed some time. But most happy was so far this season Rice, and I think that's because and he still has room to grow. That's the thing about this team. As good as they're playing, they still have a lot more they can do better, which is good. So they're gonna, we're gonna see that. From them. So we got one last question before we go through whatever the last set of comments that we have here. So how do you think Bournemouth will do this season? Are they in the relegation talk?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the bottom six easily are in that discussion. Bournemouth sitting right now in 15th, so they are, they're one loss, from or sorry, they're one win from dropping into the relegation zone. You know what I mean? So, or two losses, two wins from teams behind them. So, yeah, I think they could definitely be there. I think it's going to be tough. I think you've got you've got City at the top. And you've got about six teams behind them that are all going to be trying to fight for, to be that second team. I believe. And similar on the bottom, you've got six teams that are battling for that relegation, and you've got a couple of teams right outside that bottom six that you're not expecting to be there. Manchester United and Chelsea are sitting 13th and 14th, and the way they're playing, things could get worse for them. If they have losses with injuries and whatnot.
I hate that team.
Yeah,
I hate them.
yeah. I hear you. I hear you. So, I'm just saying. I think there is right now. There is definitely a bottom six and a top seven, for example. I think maybe even a top eight because of how equal things are playing out. But yeah, I think Bournemouth definitely will have some questions. I mean, if you look at the bottom six teams, actually, let's say the bottom seven teams, they've scored 5 goals is the max, and 2 goals is the least amount of goals played, and they all are pushing close to that double digits goals against. So that's a big concern for them.
Wait, only 2 goals after 5 games.
That's what. Yeah. So we have two teams with 2 goals, one being Luton, one being Everton.
Oh, that's criminal. That's criminal. I know a team that scored 3 goals in 1 game.
True.
So,
So these are 5 games in for Everton, 2 goals. 4 games in for Luton, and 2 goals. And Burnley 3 goals, and they have 3 goals scored. So Burnley could, with some good play, could jump out of the the cellar, as they say. So yeah. Got enough.
I would argue that the bottom 8 have been disappointing in the Premier League this season.
Is it disappointing because do you expect like a Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United, and Burnley and Wolves like even Everton? Are you expecting them to do better in a league like this?
I expect a bit of fight. I
Mm,
expect, especially from the team in 13th, I expect a bit of quality at the
yeah.
Premier League level. I
Mm,
expect some endeavour. I expect some effort. And I don't think I'm seeing that from my current bottom 8 in the Premier League.
no, you know what the fight is. No, I think Everton fought today. They're just going up against a stronger team, and it doesn't look the same. But I think they tried their hardest today. They needed to get some opportunities. We did not give them any. We did not give them any. So I
You're
don't
not
know if this.
supposed to.
Yeah, and I don't know if this means Sam and I are on the same page, but he thinks Rice is awesome. So in terms of
It
the
should be.
yeah, Rice is. I mean, I think Rice has given us exactly what we wanted. We spent a lot of money on him, and he's given us exactly what we wanted, and he still has a lot to give us. So that's a plus. Got Riddy has just joined us, people. So say hi to Riddy. welcome to the show. Ray looking cool in the championship shirt. Wow. Okay, he's calling you. Yeah, yeah. Russ adds his bit on Rice. He says he's a legit world-class player. Um, yeah,
It's not
and
bad. It's not bad.
he's going there in world class. We will see on Wednesday in the Champions League how he performs. I don't expect any less than what we've seen so far. Um, when the occasion gets bigger, he does show up bigger. So this is the first Champions League game in a long while for Arsenal. Yes, Erdegaard is our. I know Martin. I should just call him Martin. Martin is our captain, but I do believe our one of our the big time leaders on the team is Rice. I think he influences the game sometimes just as much as Martin does. Different ways. Yeah, horses for courses, as they say. They bring it different ways for us. But yeah, liking that. And that's basically part. That's 2/3 of our midfield, right? So whoever plays with them knows they've got quality next to them. So very good from us there. Let's see. Arsenal misfit. He's out. He's probably tired, and that's part of the when COVID gets you, it does wear you down. So hopefully you get some rest, and hopefully the recovery, as I said, is speedy. Thanks for joining
Yep.
us, Stephen. I know you probably, as you have COVID, probably not even out there getting to do your job and helping out there. So hopefully you get back to doing that as well. So speedy recovery. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, no, I've enjoyed this chat. I mean, I don't think we've just gone through each minute of the game. Maybe that happens on Thursday.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen in 38 minutes. I'm going to go through every minute of the championship. No, it's not true. It's not true. It's not true.
So yeah, so you check it out and
do a more
like I said,
exciting version of that. Don't worry.
in about 40 minutes, under 40 minutes. Is it all Leeds? Leeds. What is it? I
It's
forget.
We All Love Leeds.
We all love Leeds. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Although last week when you did say, "Oh, it's Leeds forever," I sat there and thought that's a far better name. Like, where the fuck were you over the summer where you could have suggested it to me?
Sorry. No, we all love Leeds. Check it out later on to go through the game.
I tried posting the link, but because I've not got admin rights, it thinks it's spam and it won't come up.
Put it in the private chat and I'll get it out there. So,
all right,
actually,
bear with me.
If it got blocked, then I cannot. I won't see it in here in StreamYard. So put it in the private chat and I'll put it out there. So
that, don't worry.
Yep. So yeah, I know you guys have enjoyed it. That has been fun. I don't know if there's much more for us to chat on the game. I think we've chatted a lot about the game and other things relating to the game. We talked about the lineup, of course, with who wasn't playing, who was playing. The goal, and let's get into it. The goal, we talked about the goal, Saka. That's the one thing you put Saka on the pitch, you're going to get an opportunity he's going to give you an opportunity to score, and he did that today. And that was because of a change of how we took our corners. That's how that build-up happened. I would like to see him be able to do that in the first 70 minutes of the game somehow, but we got it. We got it from him. It's in the 70th minute. So that was cool. So I'm going to put let's see. We all love Leeds. And what is this? 36 minutes.
And if you know a Leeds fan, tell them it exists, right? Because everyone knows a Leeds fan. We're like viruses. We're like everywhere.
Yeah. So no, it was, like I said, good game. We're taking the 3 points. Now we need to turn our attention to the next match. PSV is coming to town, coming to the Emirates. We have played them there. We have, we beat them there as well.
We came to town last season.
Yep, and we need to, get the win, get the 3 points, and start, looking at controlling that group as best we can with our performances and go from there. The fact that Martinelli is out or came out of this match early. Hopefully that we'll see what that means for the Champions League. I mean, if he sits out for
You
me,
said championship.
I was about I did almost got out there. Yeah, if he can't play, we know that we're okay. All right, and maybe that will shift our front line a bit. If Saka needs to maybe come off the bench, that also might give some opportunities for some. I would not be surprised if Havertz starts and maybe starts up front. You know, if Jesus can go, I don't know if he can go over 45 minutes right now, so that would be interesting. But I think we know Trossard can. Saka is going to be forced to. Martinelli is a question mark. So lots of question marks for that front line. But I think otherwise, I think we're pretty solid everywhere else on the pitch. We have answers there, so it should be a good one. So, yeah, so Taib says there was some good old days back in the days. He had a teacher at school who was a Leeds fan. That's when Leeds were good. So there you go. So Taib must be really old, right? If he had a teacher way back when Leeds were good.
I'm not taking your bait, Gary. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's fine. We'll have our day in the sun again. Don't worry.
There you go. I thought you were going to bite on that one. But so, Mr. Tom, we are going to head out of here. We are getting close to that 90-minute mark. I hope you enjoyed what we chatted about, and we'll do this again next Sunday, Thursday. We should have a show where we'll talk about definitely the Champions League and how that went, and then get in preparation for the North London Derby. So, Mr. Tom, it's time to say goodbye to the people.
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank Ray for giving me the universal bat signal that there was going to be no guest tonight by offering me the chance to be on it and giving me the link. And that's very kind of him. And I thank you, Gary, for accepting when I clicked on that link, okay, because sorting out my show and that. I thought trying to give some support. And again, despite me acting like I think you're all fuckers, I mean you're all quite good people, really. Even Taib. So just and especially Sam, despite the smell. But no, seriously, thank you everyone for participating. You do make it better and more interesting and more fun. Thank you, Gary, for having me on here and talking to me. So.
Cool.
I hope to see you all over on my show, but I'll understand if it's not for you because obviously it's not about your team. So that's pretty cool. So
cool.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yep, everybody check it out. We all love Leeds starting in just under half an hour or just over half an hour.
Even Gary.
Yep. I'll try to join. It's been a long day for me.
It has. It's understandable.
I'm supposed to make a trip to the store for some food, some groceries, as they say over here.
You should do that.
So that's part of my plan for today. We'll see if we get to it.
Thank you, Ross.
Yep. So check it out on the show there. We will be back, as I say, next Sunday, but you can check out the next Arsenal Fan Circle show. Should be on Thursday. And if you want to follow me, I hope you do. We'll be on tomorrow, probably going through the game a little bit more, but also probably talking about the Champions League game, first one for Arsenal in a long time. Maybe even talk about PSV and see how we do there. And hopefully we'll get some information on who's playing in that match. So we'll talk to you then. And I know it's not my show, but I do like to leave you with these words. Life is a journey. Don't waste a trip, enjoy the ride, and we'll see you guys on the next one. So we're going to head out of here and have fun. Thank you very much. And we're out.